Thank you so much, Veda.
Golden Grams. That's the cereal I like. I was like trying to think. I was like, it looks like it's something with cookies. It's not Cookie Crisp. It's
That
brown.
is
Golden Grams. So that's the cereal. I do like Golden Grams.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Let's Get Cereal, the weekly show where I, your host, Alyssa Marino, eat cereal, talk about stuff, and sometimes talk to people. I have awesome people with me today. A premier pro wrestling commentator and competitor who you've seen all over the place, my good pal, Veda Scott. Hello, Veda. How are
It just occurred to me that I was already in the room. You weren't bringing me into the room, and I'm just sitting here like sucking down a coffee on camera. So, hi, I'm a people. I'm one of those people.
You are.
I'm here.
You're a
I'm
great
a highly
people.
caffeinated people at all times. So
And you got the good stuff. You got the Wawa. Delicious.
okay, so I have mentioned this before. This Wawa mug is the best thermal mug I've ever owned in my entire life. And I have had many. Sometimes I'll buy them, sometimes they'll like come free for stuff. But this one, so my mother actually bought it for me and Speedball. We have two of them. Bought these retro Wawa mugs, I want to say like a year or two ago, as a Christmas present or a stocking stuffer, and I didn't think much of it. I was like, okay, retro logo, I'm into it. These babies keep coffee hot all day. And they were like not expensive. I think they were like $15. So all I'm saying is when you're in a Wawa, check out the thermal coffee mug selection. I can't guarantee that they're all this good, but like I was shocked.
That's really good to know. And I know that you, like myself, are a big coffee drinker, so I trust your opinion very highly.
And I prefer it hot. I don't drink as much iced coffee. I prefer it hot, and this keeps it warm. It really does. So very impressive. This is a low budget option. Sorry to you if you don't have access to a Wawa. I mean, that's your problem to deal with. Move.
Yeah. It's true. Move. Just relocate somewhere where there's Wawa. But you know, I did do one episode called Let's Get Coffee, but today's episode is, of course, Let's Get Cereal. And I thank you for being a guest because you actually sent me my amazing cereal of choice for today, which is the Timbits birthday cake cereal. Thank you again so much for this exciting treat. I know you like coffee, but are you also a Timbits fan?
So yes, I love Tim Hortons. And I believe that it does taste better in Canada. I think so. That might just be me lying to myself, but I do believe it. So this Tim Hortons, but the cereal they don't sell at, well, as far as I know, you don't find the cereal at a Tim Hortons location. It's in a grocery store. But they have Timbits flavored cereal. These, I think, are the birthday cake ones.
They are, yes.
A Timbit is, for those of you who are not in the know, a Timbit is like a donut hole they sell at Tim Hortons. So like a munchkin at Dunkin' Donuts, but at Tim Hortons. Now they have cereal, which they're birthday cake flavored ones, and I think they have a chocolate one and maybe a mocha one. I can't remember exactly. But they're supposed to mimic the flavor of a Timbit. I cannot confirm or deny, but they looked interesting, so I had to get them.
They're delicious to me. I've already had and snacked on a bowl. What are you snacking on today? I know you're a big oatmeal fan.
I am. So right now I have no snacks. I just have coffee. But this is like my state of existence for like much of the day. Yes. So originally, Alyssa, when you asked me to come on to Let's Get Cereal, I was like, I want to, but cereal. Like I don't. I really rarely eat cereal. So, okay, so here's the thing. I understand that cereal is not just a breakfast food. I get that.
Yes.
I get that. But in my head, it kind of is. And I don't know, but like I grew up with cereal. My dad, when I was growing up, was a big Crispix fan.
Classic. Okay.
Like the little hexagonal corn.
They're shaped like a hexagon.
Hexagonal, I think.
Hexagonal. Okay, I like it.
My dad was always eating those. I remember my mom really liked Frosted Flakes. So again, not the most exciting of cereals. And now I know my dad eats like a daily bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios.
Excellent. Great for
heart
health.
He enjoys those. So I did grow up around cereal. It was not a cereal-free household. Okay, but I never embraced it. And I think it's maybe part of it is I also don't drink dairy milk. So in my head, the combination of milk and cereal, like I'm like, that doesn't interest me. But there's so many non-dairy milks now. There's lots of fun cereal. I don't know. I haven't embraced it. I haven't gotten into it. But as I told you, I do eat a lot of oatmeal, which it occurred to me yesterday in the middle of the day, and I like frantically texted you. I was like, I eat
hang
oatmeal. Oatmeal is cereal.
It's still breakfast. I'll eat enough cereal for both of us today.
It's
so
hot
I will cover
cereal.
It's hot cereal. That's true. In the supermarket, sometimes it says hot cereals on the aisle.
It's in the breakfast foods aisle. Like if I'm looking for oatmeal, I go to the cereal aisle. It's always there. So it's a cereal. And I eat a lot of like, I sprinkle, this is gross. I sprinkle like raw plain oats on a lot of foods, like yogurts and cottage cheese. So like I eat it cold sometimes. Overnight oats, that's cold.
Ooh, overnight oats is pretty yummy. There's really good taste sensations you can do with those too. You said you had one that you like to do as like your midday treat.
Yeah, so I every day for lunch-ish, I mean, by lunch-ish, I mean like whenever I get hungry in the afternoon, I tend to eat a chopped up apple with some frozen blueberries and a scoop of cottage cheese, cinnamon, and the raw oats. That's a pretty typical meal for me. It's cereal adjacent. It's in a bowl. You eat it with a spoon.
I accept that. That's a little cereal adjacent twist, and I think it works. I will accept you as a cereal enjoyer.
Oh my God! Thank God! I was really stressed out about coming on the show. I thought like we might have to end this early. Okay.
Never. No, because you said the magic words, and that was about enjoying cereal growing up. So to me, cereal, it just reminds me of being a kid. It reminds me of being something you enjoy on a Saturday morning with your Saturday morning cartoons. And you, my friend, have shared some amazing like throwback pictures online. So I want to dig in a little deeper about what you were like as a little kid.
Oh no. I do enjoy sharing old photos of me because I'm very disconnected to like a lot of my youth. There's a lot of like there's a lot of dysphoria there as well. But yeah, like I have just a lot of like very funny pictures of me because I was like a weird looking kid who did weird things. And now I'm a weird looking adult who does weird things. But like some of the pictures that I tend to share are just like, they're too funny to keep to myself. But I'm very disconnected from that person.
Okay, fair enough. I do know that there was a lot of discussion of puppets and magic. I believe I saw an American Girl doll photo floating around.
Yes.
Who did you have? Was it Molly that you had?
I had 3 American Girl dolls.
Oh, excellent! Yes.
I was all in on the Pleasant Company and American Girl dolls. And I am a little bit older, so I was around when like so it all started as a book series. And I was around when like I would go to the library and I would check out the books, and then finally I was able to convince my mom to buy me the books. But the book series, and then the dolls would come out surrounding the book series. And originally there was like a limited number. Now they went fucking nuts. You can get American Girls, like you can get them to look like whatever you want. They got all different they don't even do the historical dolls as hard on that anymore. There were some problematic aspects of them. I think they revisited a lot of that and tried to like address some of the problematic aspects and like kind of discuss that, which I think is very positive. But yeah, oh man, yeah, I was very spoiled when it came to my American Girl dolls.
Well, on the topic of toys, I know that there's already a puppet version of you. There may already be an action figure of you, but if you were to customize your own, what would be some props that no Veda Scott action figure would be complete without?
Well, I guess it would have to have like a microphone or a commentary headset. It would probably have a laptop and a notebook. If we're talking about like accessories that I need to like that action figure Veda needs to do their job. For sure. Coffee or some sort of caffeine, but also an energy drink. Like 3 to 4 beverages is probably pretty typical. Like a hot coffee, an energy drink, a water bottle, and then like a third beverage, like a half flat diet soda is probably a critical item to have. I would say cough drops. I suck on a lot of cough drops while I'm working. That's a pretty important one. My phone and a phone charger because I'm insane about my phone charge going down. That is like a very like generally at a commentary table, you will see me with like 6 different portable batteries going because I'm like terrified that anything is going to die. I think those are probably the main ones. Would be like my commentary tools.
I think that
the big one.
And I was gonna say, if you mentioned the hot coffee, but definitely that tumbler, that mug.
The mug, the mug, but then also an energy drink, and then a water, and then, like I said, like some 4th beverage that I've been carrying around for a little too long.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Now, we were you kind of touched on it too when we were talking about American Girl dolls, but one of the things that you and I think first connected over when we first met was reading. Are there any current books that are on your reading list, or anything you're digging into, or something that you just finished that like blew you away?
Oh gosh. So I always have at least one book going, usually more than one. It kind of depends on what I'm doing. I like to keep a nonfiction and fiction going at once. I am a big proponent of the e-lending services through my library. So like basically as soon as I finish a book, I can just get another one, or like I'll have something on hold. I literally just finished like this morning when I was on my bike. It's called A Likely Story, and I cannot remember the writer's name, of course, because you've asked me.
Of course, yes.
And I did not prepare. But it was essentially it was an interesting framing device of a novel that was written. It's a writer writing about a writer writing, which is a pretty common trope. But this was like a triple layered novel where like there were bits of a novel was being developed during the course of the novel you're reading on 2 different timelines, and it was trying to figure out, it was kind of like about how this novel was coming together, having to do with like also it's a familial history, any multi-generational stories, I'm in. That is my current favorite genre. If there is a multi-generational history happening within this fiction, I'm in. I don't care about the rest of it. I'm gonna read it. But yeah, this was about sort of the novel writing process, but also a familial history was in there, so it was like right on target for me. I don't remember the writer's name. It was really good though. It just came out within the past year, so it's fairly recent.
You said A Likely Story is
called A Likely Story. Yes, it was like not like blow away excellent, but it was good.
Nice. Okay. And you know, along with reading, another nice kind of creative outlet that some of us pursue is music. And I know that in some of your throwback pictures that you did have some musical pursuits playing the baritone.
Yes.
Is music still something that you use as a creative outlet?
No. So I actually recently did an interview where we talked about this a little bit, and it because it was a music podcast or music oriented podcast, and it's not something that I really like discuss much. I've been talking a little bit more about it, but as I have gotten older, growing up, I always had some sensory processing issues, and as I've gotten older, it's gotten worse, and I've had to. But as I've gotten older, I've understood like that I don't need to mask some of these issues as much as I did. So long story short, listening to music is not a very enjoyable experience for me anymore, and it sucks. But like I don't really go to concerts anymore, even with like various earplugs and headphones and things. It's like a physically not good experience for me. But I have a lot of music that I do love. I grew up in a very musical household. My father's a musician. And there's a lot of music that I love, and I have ways that I can listen to it and still have it be comforting and not like a panic-inducing experience. But like I personally don't find music as an outlet anymore. And I did at one point, and I found other things for me creatively, and I like to hear about like what music people are listening to, and I check it out like when I can. But yeah, it's not as much part of my life anymore, which sucks on a lot of levels, but I've been able to replace it with some other things. But I am that weirdo who's like, I don't really listen to music, but I'm like, but here's why. And then like, I'll explain.
And it's totally fair, and it is cool that you were able to find ways to kind of make it enjoyable for you, make it comforting for you if you do want to go down that route. But also having other outlets, I think, is really important. And you know, you are someone that's on the go and on the road all the time, and I'm sure that reading is a good way to help pass the time as well. We touched on reading, but one of like the travel topics that I want to get into with you is snacking. Yes, it's a great topic. I personally am a very superstitious adventurer. I have to seek out particular treats while I'm traveling. But do you have any specific foods or beverages that are your go-tos when you're out and about?
So, I'm a big fan of the little, like, what is it, the Biscoff cookies that they give out on planes. And I love them, but I literally will never buy or eat them anytime other than associated with travel, which might have a little bit of, like, not superstition attached to it, but, like, if I go into, like, a store, it's the last thing on my mind would be to buy these. But, like, when I have them traveling, I'm like, oh, wow, this just made my day better. Because I'll, like, get it on the plane, not eat it, put it in my bag, and then I'll always find it, like, exactly when I need it. Like, when something, like, really sucks, I'll find this cookie. So that's, like, one of my favorite, like, travel snacks is, like, stuff they give me on the plane that I don't eat on the plane, but I save and find later. And it's like, oh, I saved this for me. That's a big one. You know, I like to try anything like regional that I can find. I like to try anything like that, local stuff. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's like a main snack. When I'm on a road trip, I do like to pack my own like carrots and celery sticks and like munchy stuff to eat. Yeah. But I'm trying to think what's like. Again, I'm a sucker and I like to try anything new. So like if I see something new and I can eat it, I will probably try it as a road trip snack or travel snack.
Weren't you also doing like lollipops for a while too when you were like driving and stuff?
Oh yeah, lollipops are my thing. Like the like between the sugar and the fact that it's an active food that you have to like pay attention to, it keeps me up a lot of times when I'm driving overnight. So I'll usually save a lollipop for a car trip.
Very nice. And you did mention regional favorites, like the candy and the cereal that you sent my way. There are certain snacks that you can only get or really only enjoy in certain places.
Yes.
Is there a special treat that you really get excited to work in a certain location because you know you can stock up on it?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, like I always like going to Canada because of the candy selection, and I'll buy stuff and bring it back, coffee crisps, stuff like that. You can sometimes find them in some supermarkets and things here in the States, but it's not the same thing. I truly miss, there was a period of time pre-pandemic when I was living in England a lot, like a good portion of the year, and I miss the snack foods over in the UK. And sometimes people bring stuff back for me, which is nice. But I miss like just being able to like walk into a Tesco and buy whatever I want. Yesterday, I was in a Sheetz, which is another convenience store, regional to like Western, like Pennsylvania, but like Ohio, like the Western East kind of, if that makes sense. Like Pennsylvania and West Virginia and things like that.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I needed something to film for a mini vlog. So I'm like, I'm going to pick out a weird looking treat and try it. And I ended up getting these like, they look like peanut butter cups, but they were butterscotch cups. And I tried them and they were not good. It was like just pure sweet. It was just like a mouthful of sugar. I'm like, bleh, these are terrible. I film it, I put it up, and then like people were explaining that it's, I guess, more of a Western Pennsylvania thing. It's the same manufacturer who makes mallow cups, which are like a marshmallow peanut butter cup. And I said, I was like, okay, does anybody like these? Because I think they're disgusting. It was just like it was like a mouthful of grainy like peanut butter, but it was just sugar. It was gross. And someone said that like, actually, yes, they do really like them, but they grew up eating them. And that made a lot of sense. So I think there's a lot of foods like that like, you know, we tried early, we grew up eating. If we tried to feed them to ourselves fresh as an adult, we'd be like, but yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point because I feel like there are definitely like treats that I'm so accustomed to eating that if I were just to try them for the first time ever, I'd be like, what am I doing? This is gross.
It's gross.
Yeah. Ooh, now I'm going to challenge myself to think of some of those.
I'm sure that you have done deep dives on this before, but the other day I was at my brother's house and he was watching like just YouTube videos were playing on the TV while we were hanging out with it. He has bunnies, so we were hanging out with the bunnies. YouTube videos are just playing on of like top 10 like discontinued snack foods and discontinued cereals and things like that. Like, and they were just like, you know, those YouTube like listicle videos. And some of the stuff was like, this was for kids. Why did our mothers feed us this? Like, there was so much of it that it was like, what if we took yogurt and we turned it into basically cake icing. And we put it in a little tube and covered it in sprinkles and put a tiger on the outside and handed it to children. The first ingredient is corn syrup. And it was like, what are we doing? There was so much of it that was like disgusting, and we just ate it.
Oh. We really did. And we didn't question it.
Yeah, I'm not like a bastion of health or anything like that at all. But there's some stuff there that is like, I don't know. This seems like maybe it shouldn't be a food, let alone given to children.
That's a very, very good point. Oh, now I'm like rethinking everything, but it's okay. Hey, it all got us to where we are now. Wouldn't change a thing. Everything is as it should be, I suppose. Now, you mentioned YouTube. You mentioned the mini vlogs. I know that you and Speedball have had some awesome adventures, and you've shared a lot of them on YouTube. Yes. You guys have your 1-year anniversary coming up. So first, congratulations. Yay.
Thank you.
Are you planning to do any kind of festivities? Or with all of the traveling that you do, is it kind of better to do a low-key celebration?
Okay, so our anniversary is May 24th, which is coming up. And let me check the calendar. Hold on. We got married in Vegas. May 24th is a Wednesday this year, yes. So last year it was a Tuesday. We got married in Vegas on a Tuesday so that we didn't have to miss any work and like our friends didn't have to miss bookings. I will be back in Vegas this year for our anniversary. Because, it's a big wrestling week in Vegas that week. There's a lot going on. Speedball, however, will be in Japan for Best of Super Juniors. so I will actually, and I wouldn't have been in Vegas at the same time as our anniversary if it wasn't for work. So it's not like I'm not going on this like lonely trip. I mean, it'll be a lonely trip because I wish my husband was there, but like,
of course,
I'm not like going to like stand outside and hold vigil like outside the chapel where we got married or anything. It just so happens that I will be in Vegas again this year for our anniversary. Mike will not be there though because they'll be in Japan. So
that's fair.
So what we're celebrating, we're not like, I couldn't tell you what like our anniversary was before we got married. You know how like people have like dating anniversaries and things. Like we didn't have one of those. I have no idea what it would be. We will try to keep track of our wedding anniversary. We thought that was like, as a bare minimum, we thought that maybe that was something we could do. So like, it is May 24th. We will keep track of it. We intend to like acknowledge it every year, but that's about it.
But also, you're both so busy. There's always so much going on. And, I know you had reflected recently online about kind of like the hustle mentality and how exhausting it can be. As someone who is constantly on the go and always working on tons of projects, what does self-care look like for you?
So that's something I've really been struggling with. Because, and I'm sure you can relate to this, and I'm sure a lot of people watching can relate to this, is like, because so much of like what you and I do in terms of content creation and interviewing and stuff, like, it's work. It's a lot of work. It's a ton of work. But like when you take a break from that, you start to think like, well, but I could be doing X, or like I could be doing this. And it's a little bit different from like, so like the years that I spent, working in a law office or working in an office or constantly working at a desk, if it was time for me to like go home, like, yes, I would like try to work at home and things, but it was like, there was a separation there. But when you're doing this and you basically like manage your career through social media and manage your career through your phone, which you're constantly attached to, there's not downtime. And I know that that's like a conscious choice you have to make, but I've talked to a lot of people recently who are like, yeah, I've really cut back on social media. Like for my mental health, like I don't go on Twitter that often. I only do this. And it's like, yeah, that sounds great. I can't do that. Like I need to be constantly connected for my career. And unfortunately, that means that there's just like a constant, like just pipeline of do this. This person's doing this. Should I be doing this? This person is doing this. And I feel like maybe I'm lacking in this department. I need to like go handle this right now. Oh, it's 3 a.m. Don't worry. I can do it now. And I find that that's like the side of being so connected that we don't necessarily talk enough about, because it's easy to say like, oh, I'm taking a vacation from social media and I'm gonna do it for my mental health. And it's like, okay, but my mental health will suffer a lot if I'm like unemployed. So I don't know. I'm just rambling now, but in terms of like disconnecting and downtime, I don't know. It's something that I definitely struggle with. It's something that I am not good at, and so I have no suggestions or advice for anyone about that because I am bad at it.
And at the same time, though, I feel like sometimes it is important to have that conversation that,
yeah.
like, I'm bad at it too. So I think that it's something where it's like, hey, this is a very real thing that people like struggle with and try and find some balance with. But
well, and like, and the frustrating part too is that like we love what we do. Like I want to be busy 24 hours a day because I enjoy doing it. But also I recognize that like there are times when I'm tired. I'm sure you recognize the same thing. Like there's times where you're tired and you don't want to be doing, but that's really difficult to manage when like constantly doing is part of this.
And I know you've said it and I will echo it, that one day, indeed, all of this will be worth it. It will. It has to be. It has to be. But on the topic of staying busy, I know that you and I are going to be meeting up in San Francisco on May 13th to be on the call for Queen of Indies. Super exciting. There are some incredible matches and competitors who have been announced. Are there any people or particular matchups that you are just super stoked to see?
Oh gosh. Well, I'm pumped to see
aside from everything.
Yeah, I'm pumped to see the entire Marvelous crew. Super excited that so many people are going to be making the trip over here. Honestly, though, I gotta say, there's a first round matchup. It's Hyan and Masha, and I'm super pumped for that one. That one, like, might have my heart right now. But there's a lot going on. Of course, Nicole Savoy coming back to the ring. Like, okay, so I love Savoy. She has been a dear friend of mine for a very long time. Just super, super talented, but also just like such a cool person. And when she pulled back from professional wrestling, it was like, okay, this makes sense. Like, I'm sad. We're sad to be losing you, but like, you're happy. That's all that's important. But if she's willing to wrestle here and there occasionally, I'm not gonna be mad about that. I'm not gonna be mad about that.
And of course, we have like some legends that are going to be there as well.
Yeah.
Nagayo. This is like, it's going to be very wild. There are stars from all over the world. I'm going to do my little plug. If you're in the San Francisco area, get your tickets at QOItickets.com. And if you're not, it's okay, because our friends at home can stream it live on IWTV. Yes. Whatever you do it. Just don't miss it. That's it.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm out there every month with West Coast, and the shows are getting bigger and better every single month. Like, the crowds are wild. And also, like, we have a very dedicated audience that watches every month on IWTV, but I feel like this particular event, we're going to grow that audience even more. There's a lot of people who are excited and waiting. I'm super pumped. But yeah, you got to check it out.
It's going to be amazing. Over here, I'm going to give it a little bottoms up.
Oh, your spoon is disappearing and coming back.
It's magic.
The reason I don't have my green screen going, I know, is because one of my lights broke, so it wasn't working. But I also wouldn't be able to wear this sweatshirt because my green screen picks up on yellow tones. And I have a green coffee mug that when I'm not using this, occasionally I will use while streaming, and it's an invisible coffee mug. So I get it. I feel your pain.
You understand. But my friend, I want to thank you again so much for taking the time to chat with some sort of semi-breakfast over here. I'm going to be putting the links below so our breakfast buddies can keep up with you across all your platforms. But aside from Queen of Indies, where can our friends at home find you next?
Oh, gosh. Just follow me on Twitter because for now, that's the main platform where like everything kind of branches off from there. We'll see how that goes. At It's Veda Time, I'm sure you will link everything with that. Announcements for everywhere that I am, doing commentary and occasionally wrestling will all come off of there with my YouTube page, everything. I think the next thing that I have that's the public that's out that you can watch is going to be this Saturday for the Wrestling Revolver on Fight Plus out of Des Moines. There is a huge show happening. It's going to be really cool, including, we talked about Masha Slamovich, but she has managed to pull Sami Callihan out of deathmatch retirement for a deathmatch. super pumped for that. There's a lot happening on that event. But yeah, so that is my next one. And then I've got a couple other cool things coming up. So I will link those all off of my Twitter. And then, of course, number one, I feel like my whole month is just sort of like radiating around this Queen of Indies on 13th. Super pumped.
Heck yeah. Can't wait to see you there. Again, thank you so much for taking the time. It's been a blast.
Yes.
And for our friends at home, continue to do your best to be your best. And we will see you later.